Welcome to the Life Podcast.
Welcome to the Life Podcast. Speaker today is Jonathan Mosley. I'm here with the very educated, beautiful, intelligent woman next to me, Megan. Say what's up, Megan.
Hey.
Awesome. How you doing today?
I'm not doing bad. How about you?
Doing pretty well. Just trying to live through this whole COVID situation. You know how that's been.
Tell me about it.
So, it's been, ups and downs, but you can't go wrong with what's been happening in regards to, people, losing their jobs or, either gaining more money in finances as well. So hasn't been bad, but it's been pretty good for me as well. So, but wanted to come here, talk with you today about the whole, dating now. I mean, dating has been a very, tough situation for a lot of singles now. Technology's kind of going on, and everybody's been doing this online dating. Now, something that I'm not really comfortable with, but I wanted to kind of get your perspective on, how it's been for you. I know when we chat, we talk, you always have these great stories for me. So I'm just like, okay, I got to know more. So how's it been? How's the dating life been for you lately?
So, as of lately, it's been null. I feel like COVID has kind of just shifted that, and then coming in with the holidays, it's been kind of challenging, especially because I'm home for a month.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I ventured into dating during COVID, and I was not into doing like meeting somebody via video for the first time. That was something that I was just kind of like off on, and like a few of my girlfriends were like, oh my gosh, it's like so not a big deal, like whatever. But I think especially within the last year of 2020, I've had a lot of time to like reflect on what I think I want in a partner. And I think for me, like, I really need that like genuine engagement. And so it's been super interesting to date during this time.
So do you not get that like through a virtual aspect of it all? Like, you just mentioned that you never really done video dating. Have you, done that recently in regards to video dating?
I've never done the video dating part.
Okay.
So, but I have gone on a few dates during shelter in place.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those have been interesting just because you have to navigate what their boundaries are, you have to navigate what your boundaries are, and then you have to navigate what city you're in's boundaries are.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to there's so many things to consider when you do go on a date. I think it actually really promotes communication a lot more than it has. I don't know about you, but I know for myself, communication in general with the opposite sex has just been kind of backwards in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like right now, even though they can be uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable conversations, like, are you cool with this? Are you cool with that? Like, I think that's promoting a lot of communication.
Yeah, it's like signing a permission slip to kind of figure out if you can actually, can I talk about religion or politics with you or not? Is that one of the boxes I can check?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for me, I was actually very bad with communication,
I'm
in
not
my
great
relationship.
At it either. I'm working on it too.
So
it's a work in progress for us all.
I feel like everybody needs help with, communication in general.
Right.
Whether it be with different sex, within your job, all kind of come to correlation with one another. But I mean, from my perception is that, communication is a big thing. And I was just in a very long relationship recently, and communication seemed to be one of my downfalls from what I picked up. And it's all about learning, growing,
right,
developing yourself within. Once you kind of figure out what your flaws are. And I'm not the biggest type to, do virtual dating or anything. But dating before COVID, was it better to, meet in person for you, or was it just more so of, I'm still gonna go ahead and do online dating, such as they're using these Tinders, these Bumbles, these what else is there?
Don't take yourself that far. No one's on Tinder anymore.
hey, look, that's how much you know that I don't really pay attention to too many dating sites. I like to meet in person, but did you use those back before COVID?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely have been ever since I ended my really long relationship about 5 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on all of the apps. I was on Tinder, I was on Bumble, The one that I'm currently using is Hinge, but that's what I was saying earlier. I'm kind of on a hiatus just because of the holidays and, I'm traveling and things like that. But yeah, no, I totally do not knock the dating apps. I think if anything, they've allowed me to meet more people, especially since living in the Bay Area, that's not my home. And so it's really allowed me to broaden my horizon and people that I've met. And it also, has given me opportunities to meet people that I don't think that I would have ever considered meeting otherwise.
So there was actually a study that I was actually reading into, and it said that people, so they interviewed and surveyed 5,000 people. And in this study, they noticed that, in this year of 2019 transitioning into 2020, that 65% of the people that did the survey said that they are having trouble finding that other person to, connect with. And, basically they were saying that the whole, when COVID kind of first started, it's kind of transitioned over to this online dating and things like that. And, when you look at somebody's profile, you don't necessarily get that same person.
Oh my God, tell me about it.
And so, I've had my experiences with it. And so has that situation kind of ever happened to you where like you've, seen somebody's profile and then you were just like, you know what, they wrote this in there, but it is not true. So what kind of things that, have you seen so far?
So mine's more on like their appearance and like people really knowing their angles and things like that. So actually one of the dates that I went on during shelter in place, it was that situation where they really knew their angles, they knew how to pose, and then when I saw them in person, it was like almost a different person. At the same time, I feel like I've also been on that end of things where like I've had older pictures like where I haven't like updated haven't updated my profile for a certain amount of reasons. Like I had a dude one time, this was like a year or so ago, maybe even more, and we were at the bar and he was like, "You're dressed like really conservative," and I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
he goes like, compared to your profile, you're dressed pretty conservatively. I'm like, it's winter in San Francisco, I'm gonna wear a turtleneck. I'm sorry.
So what are you expecting the woman to wear?
Right.
You want me to show all my shit out, like
right.
my cleavage and everything? Like,
and I'm like, even on my profile it's not like that. So it's like, for me, I was just like, it was just interesting to me. That was like one of the first experiences. I was like, oh my God, what, like, I don't know, like I've always judged the other person, but now like it's coming back on me too, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so reciprocated,
I mean, you can always think of that and then just don't say it.
Like, right. Well, nothing happened after that date. It was like one day and done. I don't even remember his name. So don't even worry about it.
See, I remember you told me that story, and I want to hear the story again. The story that you told me about that one dude that you went a date on,
oh no. This is the guy who catfished me. I know exactly who you're going to talk about.
Maybe we're thinking about the same person.
Where he sat next to me?
The dude that sat next to you. So I don't know about you, but I've never, been on a date and was like, hey, look, I'm going to sit next to my first time meeting somebody during COVID. So how was this experience with this guy when you went on this date with him?
Yeah, so this was actually one of the individuals that knew his angles really well. And he was like the sweetest guy, and like his personality was real. And like, I'm not going to take that away from him, but there was other things going on. And so when he showed up to the date, we ate outside. We had a conversation before of like, how are you with like, the whole boundaries thing, and like, who have you hung out with, like, are you seeing other people, type of thing. And he was actually the first guy that I went on a date with during shelter in place. And I was like, no, like I haven't gone on a date during shelter in place, this, that, or the other. I haven't really seen a lot of people. I'm really just trying to keep my circle small, but like I also need that human connection. So like I'm open to meeting you like outdoors. We went to the bar and he showed up, brought me flowers. First time a guy ever brought me flowers. Guys, bring girls flowers, they like them. So he showed up, and I already knew the second that I saw him, I was like, oh no, this isn't gonna work out. But I wanted to have an open mind because we had a really great connection. We got along really well. I liked the same music. He made me playlists. I was like here for it. And so we were sitting at a 4-person or 6-person table outside, and I got there before him, and so I like set my stuff down at the seat next to me, assuming that he wouldn't sit next to me, because I've never had someone just come and sit next to me if there wasn't more than 4 people at the table, And so
I mean, that's awkward in itself. Obviously
right.
being at that table.
It's literally why
with
I
6
asked you.
people, and yeah, and you just decided to sit over there. But sorry, go ahead.
No,
continue.
you're good. That's literally why I had to ask you at brunch like the next weekend if it was normal or if I was just being rude. So I had my stuffs out of jacket there. I had my purse there, and this dude comes up, brings me the flowers, and looks at me kind of weird, and I'm like, do you want me to move my stuff? And he's like, and I'm like, or you can go sit on the other side. Like, I was like, oh, you can go sit on the other side. And he's like, oh, no, I want to stay here. Like, right here's good. And I was like, okay. So I literally moved my stuff, and he sat right next to me. And so, like, we had to, like,
that's an
awkwardly angled.
Yeah, you can't really have a conversation with somebody when the first time meeting next to each other.
Right.
When I look at somebody and I'm having a, date with somebody, I'd rather see their face and their expressions.
Right.
Kind of see,
learn their
what
social cues.
Yeah, like what the hell are we talking about? Is she liking what I'm saying? Is she not? So that's like basic one-on-one dating.
Right.
If I'm not correct. If I'm not correct, you guys let me know. But look.
Hey, we're both on the same page.
I would never do something like that. But, maybe there's also those people that want to have that connection right off the bat, and so.
But I don't know, like, that's like, to me, like, if he wanted to have that connection right away, I feel like that was pushing my boundaries, So one, I should have made that more clear, but 2, like, I feel like he should have seen my body cues, because, like, I stuttered when I moved my stuff, and, like, I also started being like, oh, you can sit over there. Like, it was just weird because no one came and sat at our table. It wasn't a shared space because of COVID.
Now, what do you think that could have been of? Did you think it might be of like some like a immaturity, lack of experience, of his dating life?
So like I try to stay away from the word maturity just because I think that there's so many different intersections of human beings, and I feel like there's reasons why people are the way they are. You can call it immaturity, but I would call it like lack of dating maybe. There's many things that were brought up during the date that I know that I've done in the past more subtly than this guy, so it wasn't like as awkward, but I definitely know that he was definitely like nervous, that to say the least. One, he was nervous. He told me he was nervous. He told me his in his quote, in his words, his frat bro roommate helped dress him for the date, and I was just like, first of all, why are you starting with frat bro? That's already a turn off for me.
Oh goodness.
Just to like say those terms, like I was in Greek life. I have nothing against fraternity brothers, but it was just like I was like, I'm way out of my undergrad years. Like, I have a graduate degree now. Like, I'm way past that time. Like, why are you bringing that up now?
Yeah, we're fucking grown people now.
Yeah, right. I'm like damn near 30. Like, what the hell? Okay, like.
Life has had their experiences and changes, and we grow. That's the whole point of this whole experience, and let alone, finding yourself individually again. It's kind of just results back to, development in oneself. But, kind of just going back to like having conversations, what do women actually like kind of look at in regards to what they're looking for on when they go in on these dates. Is it so like if you can list off like top 5 things, like what would those be?
My top 5 things and like what I look for in a person when I go on a date with them?
Yes.
So my number one thing is like I have to be able to connect with somebody, and like I can get along with like the Joneses, I can get along with whoever, I can shoot the shit, but I have to really feel like I can understand you and like understand like who you are as a human being. So like if we don't have that type of connection, like I know instantaneously, like after a few conversations, like if we're not talking, like, or if I feel like our conversation is not getting like deeper, I'm off. Like I don't like superficial like stuff. Like I think that's super surface level, and I'm not a surface level type person. So like for me, I definitely think that that's number one, is like I need to have like a genuine connection with them. And I think that you can, I mean, at least I have definitely found those connections on dating apps, and then it gets solidified at the date. So like I can be like, oh yeah, I think we have a connection, we go on our date, and then at the date I can be like, okay, cool, we can move forward, or like nah.
So you're more so of like a let me text you until I feel comfortable enough to say, hey, look, let's go, we can go on a date, or do you just jump right into let's hit the date?
You know what? I've done both. I've been the person to like build that rapport, but I've also been the person to wait a minute and kind of just, or not wait a minute, but to jump right into it. I think I kind of let the guy lead, in a way, because I'm a very like dominant person, and so like for me that can overwhelm people really quickly. So I kind of like take like my foot off the pedal a little bit, and I kind of see where the guy goes, because in our society nowadays, like it's so constructed that the guy takes the lead, and that like if a girl like overpowers a dude or like shows any sign of like dominance, it's like they can get scared, and so like I'm very cognizant of that. I think going back to your original question, you were saying like what are my top 5 things when I have to find them like somewhat attractive. Like I know, like we were talking about earlier, like people are different in their pictures, people know their angles, but like I have to have somewhat of an attraction to them. I have to like at least, and like and attraction, attraction's so big.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing as well. I mean, granted, my experience wasn't good. She was not the same picture, right? But I'm always down to have a conversation with somebody.
Right.
And no, I mean, physical attraction is something that's very key in any relationship.
Right.
Got to be attracted to them to move forward with anything.
My thing too is like height. Like I'm a tall girl, and so if you tell me you're 6 foot on there, I automatically dock 2 inches from you, because every single dude lies about their height. And if they don't lie about their height,
you know what they say about women when they have sex, right?
Right.
Tell me. Times that by 3, and then you got your number. So I'm just saying.
Hey, we do our things. But I automatically subtract like 2 inches. Like if you say you're 6 foot, I'm like, bro, you're 5'10". Or like if a guy's like, I'm 6'3", I'm like, you're solidly 6 foot. Like it's like clockwork.
I don't see why even lie about height. I mean, I'm 5'9". Right. And I give 2 shits. I've dated females who were like 2-3 inches taller than me before.
And if people are fine with that, like no problem. And I'm also not saying that I'll never date somebody who's shorter than me. I've definitely dated my longest relationship of almost like 8 years was we started dating. It was like 7 and change. Yeah.
Shit, I didn't know that long.
Yeah, like I mean, we met each other like during puberty, so like I was taller than him, then he was taller than me, then I was taller than him, and then we kind of leveled out, and then I ended up being a little taller than him. Like it happens. But don't lie about it. Fucking own it. Like that's what I'm saying. Like if you, and like goes back to confidence. Like if you have that confidence to be like, yeah, I'm 5'9", like come at me, like who cares? Like that do you, like I'm here for it. But for me too, I also think I personally really like somebody being taller than me. I think it just goes back to like a security thing. Like if and so okay, I said 3 things. So I have to have a genuine connection with them. I have to be able to, I find them attractive in some way or form. And like attraction goes like so many ways, more than just like physical, but I just have to have some type of attraction towards them. And then 3, height thing. For me, height's important. Not completely a game changer, but it's definitely something like it's a give or take type thing. My 2 other things, I'm trying to think of them off of the top of my head.
There can be a lot of options too, so like kind of narrowing down them to 5 is kind of hard. It is. So.
It's super. It is. So like okay, so like my second to last one, I have put like prompts on my like Hinge right now. So like I have one, it's like making me a solid playlist. It sounds so cliche, but it's literally been so
Wait,
telling.
put it on what?
So like
Prompts?
one of yeah, so like on Hinge they have different prompts for you to like write things. So you know how like you
prompts.
have
Got you.
so you
Okay.
know you have your pictures, and then you also have like prompts that you can put. And then one of my questions, I can't remember exactly like what the phrase was, but I was like, make me a solid playlist, or my love language is making me a solid playlist.
Uh-huh.
And it has been so telling, because for me, if you and I have like the same music interests, like that's another type of connection to me. You know, that's a way for me to kind of get to know who you are. And like I love all types of music. I have my favorite genres, but I love all types of music, so it's super telling to me. And it's been actually really fun during shelter in place too, to like just like vibe with people and making playlists. Like the one guy who sat next to me was weird. I really appreciate him because we did have a genuine connection, and he made me playlists, and I was just like, that's
He's like, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Like, you keep sending me playlists, and I'm good.
He didn't even have Spotify, and he like made a Spotify account to like make me playlists, and I was just like, that's so kind of you. Like, I don't know, that's just like he went out of his way. He didn't have to do that. And then the last thing for me is that they need to like my dog. Would it really be a podcast without me if I didn't bring up my dog?
That's right. Yeah, your dog is insane. Love that dog though. I'll tell you what. But yeah, I mean, think about it too. Animals have their instincts.
Yeah.
They have instincts, and you know, if you know your dog feels like they're not comfortable, they'll let you know.
Well, and
Don't get
also
me
if
wrong.
like if you don't like animals, it's weird. Like I dated a dude, super sweet guy. He was so sweet. He was allergic to dogs and still let me bring my dog around like to his house, like on our dates, and like just
Damn.
totally went with it. But like you could tell like it was like uncomfortable for him too, you know? And like so like I feel like if you're not like a huge animal person, I don't know if I would want to like you know, be with you, just because like I love animals. I feel like humans aren't good enough for animals, but whatever.
No worries. Those are pretty good points, and when you bring up all those 5 kind of subjects, you know, I think all of those are a main thing as well. And so like going forward, like do you feel like, you know, you'll continue using these dating apps? Do you think you'll find somebody that you can ultimately connect with on these social sites, or do you feel like going forward after this whole lockdown in place that you'll be able to, you know, meet somebody face to face?
You know, that's a really great question. I feel like that's actually a question that I've been pondering for a little bit now. I think like my romantic self always wants to be able to like meet somebody, you know, walking across the street or like at a bar, you know.
Story.
I mean, Disney really fucked me up, but you know what? It's okay.
When you find no glass slippers on no damn ballroom.
My feet are too big for those, okay? I'm like those ugly stepsisters who try to squeeze their foot in it. But you know, I think I would love to genuinely meet somebody who is not on a dating app, but at the same time, I have met really quality people, and I've dated quality people from the app. So like, I'm not gonna ding them. I know I have friends who have had partners from there for years. My one girlfriend in London, she dated a dude for like almost 3 years from Tinder. You know, I know people who got married from those relationships. So I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to like you as a human and you as an individual, and like if you're truly ready to date, because like we could go on dates and like we could say that we're ready to date and that we want to be in a relationship, but like are you truly actually ready to be in a relationship? Like I know I've done like a lot of soul searching over these last few years of like really trying to figure out like, do I want to date people? Do I not want to date people? What type of person do I want to date? You know, like what am I looking for in a partner? What can I give to a partner? And so I think that really just kind of.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because like I said, in the same study that I was kind of been researching, it was saying that, you know, people that are I think 26 to 32 aren't specifically looking to date. 50% of them. So pretty much that just goes down to, you know, building up their life for themselves.
Right.
And so I think like, you know, for me as a man, I feel like I want to have that financial security, you know, for me. And then if I do end up getting into a good relationship, I want to be secure enough to you know, provide for my woman and things like that. So I'm in this, you know, transition where, you know, and some people don't, you know, need or want to go through that either. They want to, if they find their significant other early, good for them. They'll be able to grow together and whatnot. But after the relationships I've been on, then I knew I needed to kind of build myself and my finances. And I want to make sure my family's going to be secured. And so, going back to like that, 50% of people not dating, do you feel that you would ever be kind of like, no, maybe I'll take a break from dating?
I feel like I've kind of have taken a break from dating. I go in like spurts where I'm like super into it and then like I'm super not, and I think that's telling in the fact that I'm unsure about what I'm really looking for. Like, because like for me, like I don't date to like just have company. Like I date because I want to have a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would consider myself like a serious person, and like I don't just date people for shits and giggles.
Right.
Or like just like hook up. Like that's just not who I am, and I solidly know that's who I am. And so it's hard to navigate, kind of like what you were saying with the study. It's interesting that you brought it up because you should read the book called, there's two of them. There's The Female Brain and The Male Brain.
Mm-hmm.
And they're by Luann Brizendine. And if I butchered her name, I'm sorry, Luann. But they're really great books. And in this, and also I've learned this in my studies in school, is that men will not commit to being in a relationship with somebody. They'll be not looking for anything serious until they know that they can financially provide for themselves, for their partner. We've developed so many social constructs in our society, especially in this world where we are so focused on our careers, that why would we even think about being able to be happy,
Mm-hmm.
or be in a relationship if we can't be financially secure? Like that is a really real thing, especially I think for millennials in general. We see like how hard is it to buy a house in California? Like how hard is it to
Ridiculous.
own anything? If you're not getting paid six figures. Shoot, if you're getting paid six figures, you're probably paying back all your student loans.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's just so many compounding factors, and so it's super interesting to me to hear you say that, this is in that study, because it's written, it's literally statistically proven that when men feel secure that they can provide for their partner and like for their life, like it's like literally like a green light, like ready to go.
Yeah. And
like you just literally said it right here, just as like you're like, this is just who I am, and it's like ding ding ding, like right there.
There you go, perfect match.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like that's just one of the biggest things. I feel like getting into relationships is you gotta have that financial security.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's a big thing for me. But like I said, if you grow with somebody also and you build your success together,
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. If you can do that, or if you find that person that's willing to go that long road with you, then fucking do it.
Right. I've seen so many people do it, and it's beautiful. I think it also, this conversation also ties back to communication, and how like you and I were saying, like, communication is a challenge. Being able to have conversations, like hard conversations about like finances, or like where you're at in your growth, in yourself, in your personal self, in your work self, and all these things, like that's vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And like being vulnerable with somebody is really freaking scary.
Yeah, you gotta let loose when you need to. And like you said, it just kind of goes back to that whole communication portion, where if you guys don't communicate about what's going forward in your life, then you're gonna spiral downhill.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes with everything, that kind of, even what you mentioned in regards to your top 5. It goes through, confidence goes down, your physical attraction will start to decline after you realize if you guys aren't having that communication as well. So it just kind of dwindles down back to the end result of being able to have that confidence in oneself to communicate,
Right.
and actually deal with the problems together.
Right.
And so that's why, like, dating now, it's when you try to find that person, you want to find these skill sets in them.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also like the type of connection that you're gonna have with the person too. Like If you made a comment, and I was just like, yeah, that's it. Like, if you are able to, like, it ties back to vulnerability. I'm just gonna keep saying that, like, being able to have these conversations with people. It's people, meaning the people that you're dating. If you don't feel safe to open up to them, that's also a huge indicator that maybe you guys shouldn't be together too. Because if you can't have these hard conversations with somebody, that's telling. I've been in that place before where it's like, I literally sit there and I just cry, and they're like, what's wrong? Like, talk to me. And I'm like, I'm scared to talk to you. Like, I don't know how to say this to you, because I don't know what your reaction's going to be.
Right.
And that goes back to communication too. Look at me.
Yeah,
I'm like a broken record.
But that it points out that that's the biggest thing. You know, everything results to that. And you know, if there's not that source of communication, of course, you know, it's just going to be, like I said, it's just a downfall. But Megan, appreciate your time. Do you have anything to say about, you know, dating now, or you know, dating in the future, either be online or anything at all to add in?
I think my words of wisdom for this podcast, take what you want, because I've been single for a while. But I really think the most important thing is that you need to know what you're looking for. Like, and you need to be upfront about it. Like, you can't just go with the flow because you think that you have a connection with somebody. You're going to have a genuine connection with somebody when your values align. And so, yeah, I think really knowing exactly what you're looking for in your next partner, and whether that's a serious partner, whether that's just a hookup partner, I think knowing those things and knowing what you want is going to be the key for your happiness.
Thank you, Megan, for being here with me today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you. You know, definitely one of my closest friends, and it's always a joy talking to you every single day. So other than that, this will complete the Lives podcast, y'all. See y'all for the next tune.